Hi guys, my name is Madison Lejeune and I was assigned Module 5 for this application presentation video. Module 5 was chapter 37 in the textbook, and that chapter was titled Common Threads in Communication Theories. Since it was chapter 37 and it was in the back of the textbook, it seemed to be a bit more of a review chapter, and it just revisited a lot of theories that were explained previously in the textbook. So one theory that it came back to was the social exchange theory. And basically what this theory states is that relationships are developed upon the perceived benefits and costs of interaction. So the concept that I pulled from this chapter that I wanted to focus on is the concept of motivation. So in humans, communication is motivated by our basic need for affiliation, achievement, and control, as well as our strong desire to reduce our uncertainty and anxiety. An example from my professional life that I think relates back to this concept of motivation is when I started a new job. So before the current job that I have, I worked at a salon for about a year. After a year, I just felt like I was ready for a change of pace, and I quit that job and got a new job at a restaurant at the Rim. So I was extremely excited to start this new job. My old job as a receptionist, I was the youngest person that worked there, and the next closest person in age to me was 35 years old. So it was exciting to have new coworkers that were around the same age as me, and I had the opportunity to make more friends and meet more people that way. But I soon found out that once I started that job, it wasn't what I had pictured it to be. Upon starting, everyone was super nice to me. Nobody was mean. Everyone always greeted me and asked me how I was doing or how I was liking the job so far, and that was all very nice and dandy. But after a few weeks, I found myself struggling and really on the verge of quitting my job because I was so unhappy. The restaurant environment is a lot different from the salon in that it was very fast-paced, and I didn't really have a lot of time to talk to people, and I am someone who is a little bit more on the shy side, so seeing that everyone kind of already had their own little cliques, it was a little disheartening and hard for me to make friends. So one day I came home from work just completely emotionally drained, and I had to think, why was work making me so upset? While I was there, I always felt so isolated and lonely, and why did I feel like that? So I took a second to reflect on myself, and that's when I acknowledged that I wasn't fulfilling my need for affiliation. I wanted to be a part of these people's cliques, and I just wasn't, and that was making me sad that I didn't have that companionship. I wasn't a part of these people's groups. And since I didn't have that affiliation fulfilled, I was increasing my anxiety and stress when I was there because I felt so uneasy at work that it made doing my job difficult. So what I decided to do from there was I was motivated to befriend all of my coworkers. So I made it a point from there on out to go out of my way to talk to people, to introduce myself, to ask them questions about their life and their interests. And by doing that, I was able to make friends, and work has since gotten so much better, and I really love my job now that I've, met my basic needs through communication. So now that I have explained my example, I'm going to move into some inferences. So the first inference is that motivation can be seen in our everyday life, and the second is that our motivations seem to be rooted in our selfishness. The way that my emotions impacted this example is that they were everything that caused this change. My sadness led me to realize that I wasn't meeting my basic needs, and it was through that sadness that I was able to change my situation around. So in conclusion, it's important to remember that no matter the setting, motivation is demonstrated on a day-to-day basis in our lives, whether it be in your professional setting or it be in a classroom setting or in your personal life, it's always there. And something that seems to have a negative connotation that I mentioned in my inferences, but it's acceptable to be selfish if it's in order to meet your needs, as well as if you meet your needs, you will be happier overall. And that's something that I learned through this experience, and I hope that's something that you guys can take away from this. So thank you guys so much for watching, and good luck on y'all's videos.